Hello and welcome to Clod of War's July rundown of the top 5 games that are coming out this month. This month we're going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to be doing this in just chronological order because honestly I can't really figure out which one I'm more excited about, so this keeps it simple. So with that said, let's get on with it. First up, and this came as a massive surprise to me as it's being released a little bit under the radar by Ubisoft and Nadio, on July the 1st we get a full remake of TrackMania Nations, and I couldn't be happier. Now I think this is just on PC for the moment, but when I discovered this I was nearly knocked off my seat. It's just fabulous news. It looks like a ground up redesign to better facilitate esports. There are audience aids like visible braking flaps on the cars, visible speedo on top of it, and also visible position numbers and things like that on the cars themselves so that the audience can more easily tell what's going on. It has a bigger and better map creator, things like ice blocks and dirt blocks, no steering, freewheeling blocks, but most interestingly of all to me is this idea of a slow-mo block. There are various other quality of life changes. Apparently, interestingly, the physics remains unchanged from TrackMania 2, and from what I understand that means that the skill ceiling is fairly high compared to other TrackManias. Also, it looks like there are seasons involved because this is looking like a free-to-play game as far as I understand it. They've shown screenshots of an interface with what looks like a spring season on it, which, you know, I can live with that. That's fine as long as I get my TrackMania back. Also, it seems to have track of the day functionality, which should be great for leaderboard competitions, and some kind of clubs functionality as well, which is interesting. But basically, all you really need to know is that it's TrackMania, and TrackMania is an unbelievably crazy roller coaster racing game, and it's a huge amount of fun. So I cannot wait, and I don't have to wait very long either because, like I say, 1st of July. Totally surprising. Next on our list, coming up on the 7th of July, is Formula 1 2020 by Codemasters, and this one is an interesting one to me. I've kind of let Formula 1 games slip by the wayside for quite a few years now. I kind of lost interest in it all. However, this, ever since the lockdown, and you know, obviously I've been making sim racing content quite a bit over the last few months, and so my interest in this is peaked, not least because of the rumblings from Codemasters that they've been taking on board the criticisms from real life Formula 1 drivers that the handling is too twitchy and not forgiving enough. So that might drag me back in because that in itself is a step forward in my opinion. Other things that have me interested are things like a much improved Formula 2 mode. I do believe that these games are really improved by having a well fleshed out lower formula to work your way up through. I know that WRC8 felt so much better because I could work up through the JWRC and WRC2 formula before hitting the big cars. Other things, the My Team mode, that's a massive deal. People have been requesting this for ages, and the ability to create, manage and race your own team through an entire career is just brilliant. And really and truly, this is the only place to get a sense of the 2020 Formula 1 season as it should have been. Unfortunately, the way things are going to be far from ideal, but at least we're going to get some racing, and soon. So, oh yes, and one more thing, driver ratings as well. That's an interesting thing, and I guess that's to do with the My Team mode as well, in terms of the drivers you hire and who you can afford and management and all of that kind of stuff. Although it does raise the question, why do they have a driver in there who's rated at 64 for pace, which is 10 below the next slowest driver? I won't mention his name. I'll maybe just put a picture of the card up on the screen. Next, we've actually got 2 games coming out on the same day. The first one I'm going to mention is Rocket Arena, which is weirdly a free-to-play shooter coming out of the EA Originals stable, which is, you know, it just goes to show that they're trying lots of different things in that stable. They have said that there's no loot boxes as such, so I'm not sure. I guess it's just cosmetics that are going to keep everything going, and maybe a season pass, because it does look like it's season based, but it looks quite good, actually. It's a rockets-only arena-based hero shooter. Now, my first reaction was, oh no, not another hero shooter, but from what I've seen of it, actually it looks like it could be fun. It's 3 versus 3. I've seen it described, I think it was on IGN recently actually, as a bit like a third-person Smash. You don't die. What happens is that your meter gets filled until you get knocked out of the arena, and then I guess you kind of find your way back to the arena and have lost a point. But you basically have to build up these kind of rocket combos in order to knock the enemy out of the park. And it just looks like good, dumb, ridiculous fun. And yeah, some people will, recoil at the idea of free-to-play, and that's fine. I personally am fine with it as long as it's not completely, totally egregious. I can quite happily chuck some money their way if the game is fun. I don't mind doing that, and I don't feel like I've been ripped off. A season pass every so often, if I'm getting fun out of a free-to-play game, is fine. So yeah, it looks fun, it looks dumb, and it's got rockets. What's not to like? And that's out on July the 14th. And next up, on the same day, July the 14th, we have divisive title, to say the least. I really enjoyed this. I'd say an equal number of people out there probably didn't enjoy it. To the group of people that did, is Death Stranding on PC. Now, without a doubt, I think this is going to look absolutely amazing on PC. And actually, I'm quite intrigued and quite tempted to get it again because I did love it. I will go as far as saying I don't think there's a better game to play during lockdown. It's the sensation of being beyond the end of everything is unsurpassed. The last game that I played that made me feel like that was another divisive game. It was the Tomorrow Children, which I absolutely loved, but I did just adore that vibe. It's almost prophetic, actually, because it's a game about reconnecting people who have had to lock themselves away. For me, you could reduce it to it being a delivery man simulator, a DPD simulator, if you like. I felt that he turned these things into, these elements into gameplay elements themselves. Just the simple act of walking with a heavy load was somehow weirdly enjoyable. And I did love it. And it was in some ways a homage to a lot of very simple gameplay elements that we've taken for granted. The first one that came to mind for me was just the idea of, in our house, we talk about Skyrimming it up a hill in a game where you have to try and hop up a hill to try and find the optimum way to get to somewhere you shouldn't. Kojima seemed to turn that into a really enjoyable gameplay element in Death Stranding for some reason. So yeah, it's a chill game, it's a frustrating game. Some people may think it's a self-indulgent piece of nonsense, and others it will gel with. And it's going to be quite hard to tell who are going to be the people who the game gels with. But at the very least, I would wait for a sale and give it a go, because for some of you, it will be very, very worthwhile. Conversely, for some of you, you will think it's a complete waste of time. And then we have the really big one this month, and that's another Sony exclusive, and that's Ghost of Tsushima, and that's how you pronounce it, by the way. In Japanese, you don't really tend to emphasize any particular syllable, so it's Ghost of Tsushima, and it's set in feudal Japan. We have a samurai who appears to be completely grief-stricken and goes to war with an invading Mongol army who have landed on the Isle of Tsushima. It's done by Sucker Punch. Now, I keep on getting Sucker Punch for some reason mixed up with Insomniac. If anyone can let me know why that might be, something that they've worked on together or something similar they've done in the past, that would be helpful to me, because I have no idea. I can't figure it out, but I always get them mixed up. But this is definitely Sucker Punch, coming out on the 17th of July. And yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. Very hyper-real, almost painterly landscapes that happen to be open world that you can ride a horse through, and it just looks amazing. It looks so beautiful, in fact, that I worry it'll set my PS4 on fire in some sort of mic drop moment at the end of the PS4 generation's life. It looks like it's going to really work that thing hard, and I'm going to have to wear headphones in order to hear what's going on over the PS4 fan. It's a problem that I actually had with The Last of Us 2 as well. I couldn't hear the very subtle voice acting that was going on at the beginning because my fan was just going crazy. So I suspect it's going to be the same here. It is kind of appropriate that they're going to close out this generation, as in Sucker Punch, as they started the generation with, certainly on the PS4, with one of the most visually impressive games seen on console up to that point, and that was infamous Second Son. So they do have a habit of kind of bookending, if you like, generations with some seriously impressive technology. I am absolutely really looking forward to this. There's going to be, it looks like it's almost to me like we're witnessing the birth of the ninja here, and that's quite exciting. So yeah, that's the big one this month, coming kind of mid-month, I'd say. And that's almost it, barring a bonus game. Well, not quite game, it's DLC. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast, and by the way, we have a podcast, you'll know that me and Dan play Nioh 2 once a week, and I have an enormous amount of fun and are taking our goddamn time about it. However, the first of 3 promised DLCs is coming out on July the 30th. So that's called The Tengu's Disciple, and the teaser text is: a great battle has taken place at Yashima in the late Heian period. As a visitor in Yashima, our protagonist finds a shrine possessing a mysterious whistle called the Sohaya Maru. Upon inspection, the whistle shines radiantly as the shadow of yokai can be seen lurking in the background. It is revealed that whenever wars take place, heroes wielding the Sohaya Maru will head into battle in order to restore peace back into this land. So, kind of specific and hella vague at the same time. But yeah, that's July the 30th, and to be honest, I'd be amazed if Dan and I get round to getting on to any kind of DLC in Nioh 2 by this time next year. We're taking it so damn slow. And that's it. That's what's exciting me about games releases coming up in July. Please do let me know if I've missed something. Let me know in the comments if there's something else that's exciting you. It's clearly not an exhaustive list, although July release list isn't absolutely huge by any manner of means, but I'm sure there's plenty out there that I could also be excited about. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do like. If you enjoy my content in general, please consider subscribing. And other than that, try and catch me on Twitch or the podcast. Just search for Clod of War on Twitch or on all the major podcast platforms. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, stay happy, and see ya.